popping in. Sheets, we're still waiting for people to pop in because I just started it. But how you doing? How's the day been?
All right.
How's Ashley doing?
She's good. She's all better. She's getting after it again.
Yeah, good. So some of the lineups, it's a Monday. They've shaken out a little bit differently today than not huge differences, but there are some differences here that are a little bit off of what I thought was going to happen. No Stasi, who was going to be one of my main catching options, is not in the lineup. Excuse me, for the Angels. But mostly, I still feel good about what I wanted to do earlier. I'm a little bit lower on Pittsburgh than I was earlier, but I still like the little three-mans you can build there. I think you could make the same case, obviously, with Grisham now leading off. In San Diego, I think is a reasonable, nice little three-man stack to complement, because it is hard for me to stop having interest in these big stacks. And then I also think that Detroit as a complementary stack and potentially as a full stack makes a lot of sense. What are you doing? Anything different than earlier for you?
Yeah. I'm probably going to play some Yankees.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. That's the one. That's the leverage I'm living with. So I'm probably going to play the Yankees. And I'm probably going to wimp out with the pitching. I don't think I'm going to get to too much funny business as far as the pitching goes.
Yeah, I didn't get to it either. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Too much. Look, if I was playing a ton of lineups on FanDuel, if I was building a bunch of things, I think on FanDuel playing a really low-owned Darvish because of the price point, I think that's interesting. I actually have Darvish and Burns as my top two guys right now on DraftKings, which is a little bit weird because I love McClanahan and I love Cole. You have three of the top five strikeout pitchers in baseball on the slate tonight.
Yeah.
McClanahan's number one. So I don't like a Yankees stack, but I do think the Yankees are going to be completely overlooked. And I think the mini stack or a two-man or even just a one-off of Stanton or Judge, I just think that makes a lot of sense here, especially, as leverage with what's going to be a fairly popular McClanahan. Although I think that you're going to see most people on Cole the most, right? Is that what you're saying?
I believe that's the case.
Yeah.
Did you what's interesting is you touched on a team that I was not struggling with, but so if you mentioned San Diego a little bit, so if you really you want to be different, you play San Diego, who the hell's going to pay $6,000 for Cronenworth?
Right.
Right. So you include him in there, then you're look, it's kind of tough to pay that off, but it's baseball, anything's possible.
Yep.
And if he just makes the rest of the stack work, maybe again it's a pitching slate, so you're kind of counting on, in a way, like Boston and Toronto to fail anyway, and the Angels. So maybe you don't need that much out of your hitting, so maybe you can pay $6,000 for Cronenworth.
Yeah, especially at a fairly weak position. I think Trevor Story and I think Witt and Trevor Story are going to be very popular there. But I don't see anyone playing Cronenworth, and I still don't think that many people are playing the rest of the San Diego guys either. So you have the 2K Mazzara, 3,400 for Grisham. Just makes a nice little stack. I don't mind if you want to throw the catcher into make it a 4-man if you want to do a 4-4 or something like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. So
but I'm kind of, again, I'm being quite the wimp with the pitching.
How can you be a wimp? There's 6 great pitchers, and It's hard not to play the 4 best ones. They're really good.
Right.
You're the top 5 in baseball, and then you have the underpriced Darvish on DK. It's hard for me to get away from that.
Yep.
But I am curious where the ownership does end up in the different buy-ins. You'll probably see some big differences because I think you're going to mostly see those guys. I think some people will dabble a little bit with Fried and Logan Webb, and they've got an extreme hitters umpire in arguably the best hitting conditions on the slate, maybe probably the best hitting conditions on the slate. So I would get away from that one. I still think there's enough upside to take a shot with Brubaker and Syndergaard, but I just don't see the reason to on this. They have their ceiling games, and it's just a normal game for these other guys.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm sort of struggling with. Yeah, I like Rich B's doing this to two-man San Diego stack. What's up to everybody in chat here? Yeah, Stassi was going to be the main catching option, I think, and now he's out, so that sort of mucks things up a little bit. And the truth is, if you can find a way to prioritize one position on slates like this, and last time I said this, it worked out well because they both hit home runs. But I do think that you want to, like, it's kind of silly that you can't play both of them together. And I'm not saying you should stack against Syndergaard, but if you want to get like a nice little three, I just think the best catching options are always going to be the Royals on slates like this.
Yeah,
if you can get to them, and if not, it would be Contreras. I know Perez hasn't been quite as good this year, but I love both of the catching options for the Royals tonight. And looking at the ownership of I'm sort of surprised that Toronto is not getting a little more ownership. What are your thoughts on this? Do you buy that?
Yeah, I think they probably will also.
It seems like they have to get more than they're being projected for.
Yeah.
But even in the teens of ownership, though, I'm okay with playing the Toronto guys just because I think that they're really good. They make a lot of sense. I mean, it's strange to me, though. I'm looking at early projections that Teoscar is getting more ownership than George Springer. I don't really understand why that would be the case. They're $400 apart, and Springer is about 10 times the hitter that Teoscar is. But I was going to play Teoscar as a way of getting off of Springer on DraftKings, and also Teoscar is really cheap on FanDuel and not cheap on DraftKings. So yeah, so go ahead.
I was going to say, here's something interesting. Just you want a low-owned guy who's just really good. He's going to be lower owned than he even could be. I don't even know if anybody realizes this. So the one lineup that's not out yet I have is Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Anderson is probably going to play today.
Yeah.
And he still shows a big IL in this freaking the DraftKings app right here.
Right.
And it's the last lineup to be released, and everybody's building lineups. I don't know. Maybe there's something to this White Sox business.
I think it's actually a pretty decent call. I'm not like in love with stacking against Barrios here, but I definitely like getting some bats, and I don't mind if you want to do the stack. It's not going to be owned. You've got some cheap power options that are all pretty solid. I like Berger in the 6 hole, by the way, at 3,300. And assuming that he does in fact bat 6, that's my projected lineup. What I've got for him. I like the Blue Jays on the other side of this game, though. I really think that at the current ownerships, and also I like some of the weird ones. Like I like Matt Chapman tonight. I like Biggio because if you're going to try and beat, the thing that's frustrating is that's why they have Tapia, who's 2,600, also another good 2,600 bat. He's batting 5th today, but they just don't have lefties. Toronto's going to have to do something. They're going to have to make a move sometime during the season because you can't just put out all righties out there all the time. And if you're a real contender, Melendez is a pivot off Stassi. That's a good call over there by Hingo. But yeah, and the guys who I'm lower on the Angels than than other people seem to be, but it's really just because of the ownership. I think that they're completely solid plays. Mike Trout is probably the best guy, most likely guy to hit a home run tonight. And maybe you can get low ownership on guys like Jared Walsh because people will maybe play Ohtani at first in that situation. So yeah. I think you could find a creative way of doing it. Maybe include Brandon Marsh in your builds at the bottom of the lineup, or even Velasquez for near minimum at shortstop as a pivot off of my other guy who's minimum at shortstop. Cruz, yeah. But Cruz is more just as part of my little mini pirate stacks, and I found that I needed the value some places. But most of my ownership is going to the Blue Jays, and I do have the Red Sox in my biggest buy-in but it's with the Pittsburgh complimentary stack, and then I'm skipping both Cole and McClanahan there, but not that much lower owned. Going to have Burns and Darvish together. And then on FanDuel, I'm playing Garrett Cole. I think he significantly stands out over here with the discount against the other top guys as clearly the best option on FanDuel. And
FanDuel, Cole. I think Cole's going to be like 50% owned on FanDuel.
I agree. And it's a good argument to actually get off of them if you want to do that. I mean, if you look at the numbers this year, I mean, let's just say like this McClanahan is no joke.
Nope.
He is really, really freaking good. And it feels really weird to play a high owned pitcher against the Yankees ever, a lefty especially. But he's just awesome. Like he's just really good. There's not really anything else to say about it, I guess, than that. But I think he's that's why I sort of liked, if you're going to play the pivot game, though, maybe you play those other guys don't quite hit their ceilings, and then you get the Yu Darvish 50-point game, and the other guys are right around the same, or maybe a little lower. You get a tiny bit of savings with Darvish as a weird play on FanDuel, something I'd consider doing. Milwaukee is the question here. So I didn't get to any Milwaukee. You talked about it a little earlier, Sheets. Where did you end up with that one?
Yeah, I'm still working on that because I would like to play more of them than I have.
Yeah, I get if there was ever a time you'd want it, but the thing is, this guy is so efficient with his pitches. He could get through like 6 innings with like 1 hit, and then that, then they pull him out then, but then they've got a decent bullpen behind him. I don't think it's like he just doesn't get like rocked that much, like ever.
Yeah.
He has walked more guys this year than he has in the past. That's one thing, I guess you can sort of, but like he goes, he goes every outing. He was coming off of, an 8-inning outing the previous. He's pitched 16.2 innings in the last 2 starts he's had. That's pretty nuts. In modern day baseball.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah. What happens now, Sheets? If Mikolas goes and does it again, now do we start talking about him for Cy Young? Is he our new
him and Martin Perez?
He's our new Martin Perez.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
It's just pretty strong stuff there from him. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of other stuff to go through. It's a smaller slate. I think that getting different with the Pittsburgh, the Detroit, and the San Diegos are my favorite options. And I would go in that order, actually. But I like San Diego more. They did put the lefties out there against Davies, which you're hoping for, but it's not an impressive lineup that they're rolling out there. You don't have a ton of power. I do think Trent Grisham on his own is a terrific play.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, he's 3,400, and then you could play him with Hosmer and Mazzara for the cheap stack. You could throw in Nola if you wanted to get a 4-man. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Where are you? I think you probably mentioned it, but on FanDuel, where are your main stacks over there? Are we chalky over there? Or?
I'm heaviest on Toronto.
Okay.
And I like the. They're going to be fairly high owned, but I like the Wits, both of them.
Yeah, but they're not going to be as high owned as the Angels and the Red Sox, though.
Right. But I don't really necessarily want to do the full stack with KC against Syndergaard. I just like taking the little 2-man for the stolen base, and there's power upside against Syndergaard as well. The Angels bullpen has been pretty trashy for the last month and a half, so that's where I'm at for that one. It feels weird not to have any more basketball. I have to, even though it's not happening, it wasn't happening every day. It's just like I kind of miss it. You didn't get to watch some really crazy great performances. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, maybe I will screw around with the pitching a little bit. I just feel as though every time I talk myself into the fact there's like just 2 or 3 just like guys just have to play, just someone else just does it. I don't know.
Right. And this is the slate where that could happen.
And then you say, okay, no big deal. I have 95% Cole, and next thing you know, they're down 3-0. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like,
I do think that if there was one guy to get weird who could do it, well, there's 2 that stand out to me. One is Logan Webb, and the other is Berrios. I guess you could include Mikolas in that, but to have that, where it's maybe like 5% at, that one of those guys, or 10%,
or the Winkowski, something like that.
Yeah, that's possible. It's completely fair. I mean, it is Detroit, So I wouldn't mind if you want to go Winkowski, but we're forgetting, this guy, Killian is a guy who, there is some respect about him. He had some tough situations so far. He had to pitch in the Wind game last time in Wrigley. He didn't give up any home runs, but he's really struggled against San Diego. He's probably up a year earlier than he was supposed to be, but he's a guy who's a guy to look out for. So even though I'm saying some Pittsburgh stuff, if you wanted to get weird with the lineup, that's a guy you could use to get weird.
People get too cute and try to go like Burns, Cole, or Cole McClanahan, and just pile into these freaking Tigers. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're supposed to take the Winkowski.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those guys. It's just hard for me to see. I think you're going to see multiple like 25 fantasy point performances, and it's hard for me to see those guys. And even if they get there, like you might get a 40 out of one of these other guys too.
Yeah.
And just own the position entirely. How about who are you guys using as your secondary stacks or your primary stacks? Maybe that we haven't included. Throw out some other ideas. That Milwaukee was one that I'm not as high on, but I definitely understand the reasoning. I'm into this Pittsburgh thing. I keep talking myself more and more into it. The other weird one is that I think Wilson Contreras is going to be owned. I don't think the Cubs are going to be owned at all, and you could make an argument against Brubaker.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it, but I personally prefer Pittsburgh, but that's where I'm at. But
maybe I should screw around with the pitching a little bit. I think right now I have so much Cole, it's like ridiculous.
We know he's not a sure thing either.
No.
He has his weird outings every now and then that just like who is this guy? But he hasn't really he was really, really good for that middle stretch, but he's about, what is it so far? 3 starts. So about 1 out of 6 times he's just gets crushed. Like you have 5 home runs in this 2 starts ago. That's just nuts.
Minnesota, that one.
Yeah. 5 home runs that's got to be, I guarantee no way he's ever given up 5 home runs in the start before. O'Neal Cruz. He's in my main lineup right now. He's the one I'm using as for value because I'm saving down there. It does scare me a little bit. The one guy I keep missing Bogarts on my Red Sox stacks because he's a great overall. If you look at these Red Sox hitters, by the way, you'd be shocked to know that they're not they're all hitting like 330. It's bizarre. It's like you have the JD and JD's down is at 336. You've got 330 for Bogarts, 330 for Devers. Pretty nuts. And then I keep wondering why I keep getting stuck on Trevor Story so I can watch him strike out 3 times. And why am I paying $5K for this guy, but I'm still doing it for stack integrity. I am taking Verdugo over Duran today. I think that's a smart move to do just for ownership's sake. And he's a better player, for one thing.
You did mention he hasn't had a lot of power this year, though.
Yeah, but Duran hasn't hit a home run.
Right.
He doesn't have any power. So if I'm going to do a 5-man stack, I'll take the better pure hitter. And he struggled this year, Verdugo, but he's been better than Duran has. It's not like they're not,
How about this?
The thing about Duran is he can steal a base or something like that. That's not going to happen with Verdugo. All right.
Toronto, they look pretty good. Toronto, Yankees. Well, that is a lot of leverage. I'm going to talk myself through this. I mean, the thing. Don't forget. I mean, McClanahan. This is going to be his 3rd time against the Yankees this year.
Going to be his 3rd time against the Yankees. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know, man.
Still hasn't been hit yet by anybody.
Nope. Nope.
It's nuts. Every time I feel like everybody's ready for him to have a bad game. He just
mows him down again.
Yeah, he really just doesn't have bad starts. He'll give up a home run, but he'll just move along. Let me see if I can do something about this actually, because I currently don't have as much Cole on DraftKings. I'm just using him on FanDuel exclusively. And I am using him on DraftKings, but I'm more into the McClanahan, Burns, and Darvish. That could be a mistake.
Yeah, I think I'm going to reduce.
I'm going to get one of those in there. What the hell?
Trying to think this through. I want to play all this Detroit. Seems to be asking for trouble.
I don't know. I don't mind it. I mean, it's Detroit.
Shortstop for the Padres at 2K.
Yeah, I mean, you've got O'Neal, Cruz, and Abrams. I think they're both very viable. I do think Abrams is more of a pinch hit risk for what it's worth.
Okay,
but it wouldn't matter as much in a stack. It would only matter like I don't worry about the pinch hit risk as much in a stack because that usually you'll get your guys left in if you're up like 5-6 runs. But if you're just playing a one-off or something like that, or a two-man even, it's probably a little bit scary. Okay.
I tell you, man, baseball's really hard.
Yes, it is.
KC? Is that where I should plant my flag? It's freaking KC business. Maybe. If I did that, if I played too much KC, then I would have still all this Cole, but then I get some other stuff. Let's see what my stacks would look like. I wouldn't have all 5, man. That's good. It's Detroit. All these. There's KC's, more Detroit's. It's KC, Detroit, Boston. There's some Pittsburgh. That's good. See some Pittsburgh in there.
Mm-hmm.
The Angels. Oh, I got my man. I got Marvin. Marvin's in tonight at 2K.
Who's that?
Marwin.
Oh, Marwin. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he only strikes out 3 times.
Yeah. Marwin, who I won that tournament earlier in the year with Marwin, and it's like you literally just need like 3 walks and a single RBI single. Like that's his route to success, you know.
And you got Trevino in that game.
Yeah, big power Trevino. It's true. Guy's been awesome.
Why would you play Melendez against that guy when you could play freaking Trevino against Shane McClanahan?
Yep.
All right, this is the story. It's going to be Cole, Burns, Darvish. All right, I have some sprinkles. All right, I have some sprinkles of Syndergaard. I have some sprinkles of Lynn, some sprinkles of Winkowski, just for fun. And
there you go. I like it. Get a little creative.
Probably a little bit too much chalk. And then what I'm going to do, just for kicks, I think I might take your advice and get rid of the Abrams for the pinch hit risk. But then again, he's late, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the Pittsburgh guy? Oh, he's a shortstop, right?
Yeah.
Who'd I rather have? Oh, it's not even close, actually. I'm gonna have to swap out. I have him in an Angel stack. The Abrams. I don't want that because I'd rather just put Renigfo in if I'm gonna do that.
Right.
Abrams. I just got a couple there. Why did Toronto get Tapia?
So Tapia, like the thing is, he's a solid. Like he should be a better hitter than he is. He's a good contact guy. They needed a lefty to platoon with their guys. He doesn't have any power, but they don't need to worry about that because the rest of their lineup has so much power.
Well, that's what I meant. I mean, like he doesn't really fit the mold. I mean,
well, they just need the lefties. That's the thing. They just don't have any lefties in that lineup. I mean, it's Biggio who's hitting 120, and basically that's it. All right. I'm gonna split.
Okay. Good luck, everybody. Hopefully somebody takes something down.
Yeah, good luck. I agree. And is everyone playing the Yankees? I am not touching the Yankees, but I wouldn't mind a one-off of Stanton or Judge. Sheets is into the Yankees a little bit. I just can't bet against a guy who doesn't.
I'm kind of off it.
But now they're going to go nuts.
Later.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody. Have a good night. And I will be in Discord all night. So